Train by day, Kyle Wigginton podcast by night, all day.
Pete Addicks.
Hi, everybody.
With NOLA Hummingbirds. So go ahead and describe for the people what NOLA Hummingbird is.
So the NOLA Hummingbirds, we gotta start doing Barbershop Quartet music about 10 years ago. And the plan was, one of the reasons that we're called the Hummingbirds is we wanted to go from bar to bar and sing in the set breaks. Do it across Frenchman, do it across Bourbon Street, and make a little bit of money, have a little bit of drink, have a good time. The thing is, when we kicked off that business plan, we found out that the owners wanted long set breaks so they could turn the room and get new people coming in that wanted to drink the beer. So we said, well, that's not gonna work, but we still like drinking for free and we still like singing. So we started going to random bars that didn't actually have music and performing. And people would say, hey, do you want to drink? And we, at the time, would say yes. And that is how we wound up stumbling around the French Quarter after about 2 hours.
So you guys basically just hit up random bars in the French Quarter?
I was a bartender in the Quarter. Mm-hmm. So I knew a lot of the bartenders. I partied with them. I hung with them after hours, during hours, what have you. So I wasn't always random bars. It's like, oh, I know who's working there tonight. I'm going to hit there tonight. Come on, guys. And we got about 80% acceptance, which is pretty cool. Like 20% of the time, they're like, go. No, we don't want you here.
Well, no, I would say 80% acceptance is phenomenal in today's society.
It was pleasant.
If you can, I don't know, man. It's such a weird world that we live in too, especially being down in the French Quarter. So I could imagine like any parlor trick type thing would do well in the French Quarter.
It does, but you can't ask for money. That's the big deal. The fact that we're asking for booze means the money goes to the house. We're getting tipsy. They're selling product. Everybody's happy. But we didn't come out the other side saying, oh, our pockets are flush and everything's lovely. We came out the other side saying mostly, I got to get an Uber. So the few times that we tried and discovered unpleasantly that we shouldn't ask for money, we don't. That's part of the 20%.
Oh, yeah.
Not so acceptance. We went back to those places months later and they were like, hey, you going to ask for money this time? Like, no. Good. You can sing 3 songs and get out.
Yeah. How would you monetize that? I often wonder that about musicians, especially ones that like perform live like that. Cause I know they don't make that much money. So I guess they just sell merch and stuff, right? So the strolling was a way to get our name out there. NOLA Hummingbirds NOLA Hummingbirds for disambiguation, to be quite honest. There's a Hummingbirds in Britain and they're a women's quartet and they're phenomenal. And we couldn't start thehummingbirds.com. We couldn't start the Hummingbirds on Facebook because it already existed. But nobody in NOLA was using Hummingbirds. So we just went NOLA Hummingbirds, disambiguation. So we refer to ourselves as the Hummingbirds within our own. NOLA Hummingbirds is just hey, this is how you can find us. Oh shoot! You asked a question. I was asking you. I was asking about monetization. Like, the way to monetize would be to sell merch, right? That is an option, which we have not taken yet. The way we monetized it is we wound up having a stage show with burlesque dancers and people love naked ladies. People love naked people because we are the one and only strip barbershop quartet that I know of. And we actually have a show on September 14th where we will be stripping at the Always Lounge. Hang on. You guys strip too or the... Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yes. I didn't realize this was going to happen on the podcast. I mean, I'm keeping my clothes on today. Nobody's throwing money at me. What's in your pockets? Oh, shit. Let me just throw some money out. I'll give you some of that pickle goza. What, you're going to spray it on me? Spray it on you. Spray the pickle. Flash dance. So what burlesque dancers do you guys perform with? Because I mean, Ember was just on Ember Blaze. Oh, Ember. Actually, Ember is a friend of ours. She was
on our resurgent show, we had the Red Hot Review with Ember and we had Cassidy Copperhead as our artist in residence.
Cassidy Copperhead. I mean, she's got to be redheaded as well.
She is, as a matter of fact. So when we first started off, we were doing a weekly show. We had paired up with a different production company, a different small production group that was nested within the burlesque scene here in New Orleans. And we didn't have to do much by way of the casting. I was working on the Hummingbirds and getting them ship shape for being on stage. And we had a time slot. We had a consistent show. We were lined up. As that progressed, we separated from the other production company. Excuse me.
I appreciate you blowing that away too.
You're welcome. I'm trying to keep it very far away from.
No, yeah.
There's not a gobstopper. So when we separated, I had to take on the casting. So I took about a month off of the weekly show, and I was like, all right, I got to get casting lined up. And one of my tenors came up with a great idea. It's like, why don't we have an artist in residence? Like, talk more. And he said, well, somebody that's with us for a certain series of shows. And then at the end of it, we kiss our goodbyes and we'll have an artist in residence that's consistent. We'll have another act that the artist in residence can select or we can select. And it makes it easier and it just diversifies the crowd. And we get a new show every week, 2 weeks, wound up being a month. A monthly show.
I love that. It's awesome.
It was a great idea. Oh my gosh. Business plan 101. Ask Ed DeMirer from the Somerton Suitcase. So it worked. It worked for us. It worked very, very well. So our artists in residence were like Miss Monarch M, Cassidy Copperhead. We had good golly. Now the problem is I have aphasia. I know who I'm talking about. Rebby Ray. She was our first. I went for a couple of others. I'm trying to remember who else we had. Margie Cates. We had one of our artists in residence was an acrobat. His name is Joseph Stein. He's a very dear friend of the family. And we go to lunch. We go to dinner with his family and our family every Friday night. And he did one show as the artist in residence, and then we just hosted the rest of the acrobatic scene here in New Orleans for the rest of the shows. So it turned out all right. We had a good time. COVID hit. We shut down the show. The shutdown ended. We did the Red Hot Review, and Cassidy was our last artist in residence. And at that time, it was time for me to move along. I had a baby.
What's the difference
between a baby and a baby?
Yeah.
And just, okay. Freddie Gator had, he was long instead of tall. And yeah, he wasn't a walkie-talkie baby by the time we stopped the show. He was still like babe in arms.
This is your child?
This is my first child. Okay. Yes. We have Freddie Gator and Hunu Banana.
Give me an example, not to like cut you off, but give me an example of like how a show would go when you guys had one.
Oh, okay. That's easy. I come up, I give what's known as an amuse-bouche. And that's just, I sing a song to the audience to get them warmed up. It always had participation in it. And then we call the Hummingbirds in. We'd all do a little round. Hummingbirds would dissipate. The artist in residence was the first dancer. They'd do an act. I'd come back, bring the Hummingbirds, do a song. The special guest would come out, do a thing. We'd have our intermission. Mm-hmm. And frankly, my intermission was my favorite part because eventually I wound up with a kick-ass ragtime pianist who we lost to med school. It was like he was a friend of mine in college. He got into med school after like my second year, and he was like, I can't be your ragtime piano player anymore. I have to go to Shreveport for med school. Josh Wu. And now he's back and practicing medicine.
Yeah.
And but anyway, the point of the intermission was not just the ragtime piano, but it was also an opportunity. It's like, look, get to know the person next to you. Get to know the person you're with. Are you on a first date? Are you on a 4,000th date? It doesn't matter. Take this time because we're all so alone for so long. Make a connection or establish the connections you have. So it's not just, hey, go to the bar and get a drink, because that's just going to happen anyway. But we'd come back, Hummingbirds again, special guest, Hummingbirds, artist in residence would close out with the big finale, and then one more song, say our goodbyes, and call it a day. If there was a birthday, we'd ask for birthdays if anybody in the audience had it, and we'd do the Spank Tunnel a la Gingerlicious. I don't know if you ever...
You just said a lot of things there that didn't make any sense to me.
Birthday, Spank Tunnel, Gingerlicious.
Gingerlicious.
We're going to start with Gingerlicious. Gingerlicious used to have Cirque Delicious at the Hi-Ho Lounge when I first moved to the city.
So this is a human?
This is a human.
Okay.
And when I first moved to Louisiana in 2008. And she was what I based my show off of. She's currently living in St. Louis. She's retired from burlesque, but she's writing hiking books. She's amazing. Amazing human being.
Is Spank Tunnel also a human?
A Spank Tunnel is an act.
Okay.
And what you do is you stand up and you put your leg outside of shoulder width, both legs outside of shoulder width, and the birthday person, and you're in a line, because keep in mind, I've got a quartet, a special guest, and an artist in residence. So there's at least 6 people.
Okay.
And we'd invite audience members up too if they're part of the birthday kids party. So you're facing them, they're facing you. They get there down on their hands and knees and crawl between your legs. And you spank them as they crawl between your legs. You're playing butt bongos as they go under. And we've
such a New Orleans thing to do.
It is very much so, but we asked for consent initially. That consent is mandatory. It's not just sexy or good or a suggestion like
we're gonna do this. Do you want us to? Yeah, kind of one of those.
Do you want to participate in this thing that is about to happen? It can happen, but not at you. That's fine. So, yeah, we did the Spank Tunnel, Gingerlicious Spank Tunnel. Happy birthday! It was towards the end of the show. Oh, we had the Wheel of Debauchery. I forgot to tell you about
What does that one do?
You had the opportunity to win fantastic prizes. Like I would give you a sloppy kiss.
Well, that's disgusting.
Well, it was a Hershey kiss that I've been keeping in my pocket the whole night. Unless you wanted the alternative. There was barbershop haircut, which is we'd set you down in a chair, cover you up with a sheet, and wield sharp objects at your face, and you could get a photo op. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Sloppy kiss, barbershop photo op, naked barbershop. There was like we're going to sing a song. You're going to get the strip tease, because sometimes we'd strip, sometimes we wouldn't. Sometimes we'd just be like, hey, this is a clothed show tonight.
Yeah.
So we had 12 options. And we had tickets. Another ding is we'd sell tickets for a raffle, and the tickets would spin the wheel of debauchery to win whatever barbershop win there was. The last ticket got a pineapple, a prize, and a private song. So like we'd sit them down and sing at them, and it worked out well.
That's kind of a cool show, man.
It was a blast. We're actually out of that, but we just got lined up at Three Muses of all places.
Is that a bar?
That is a bar and show location on Frenchman Street.
Well, you mentioned Always Lounge. I know that. I don't really know Three Muses though.
Three Muses down by like 3090 Blue Nile, Spotted Cat. It's on that drag. And Spotted Cat's on the downtown side. Three Muses on the uptown side.
Okay. I love Frenchman Street. It's dope. But I mean, living over here on Uptown, like I don't get over there very much.
No, not.
One of my buddies actually performed over there last night after he left the album release show we were at. He performs over at 3090.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, he's a DJ over there.
Heck
cool shit. I was going to go there last night, but I was like, no, let me be respectful to the guest and not show up hungover.
He says to me now, do you have any idea how many margaritas I had yesterday?
Oh, you went out and got a...
No. I didn't go out. So there was a parents' night out through Church's Karate. I have two kids. I throw the kid at the parents' night out. They had atomic dodgeball, which is dodgeball with a black light and glow in the dark balls.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was rad.
Yeah.
Like, it was super cool.
And they served the parents margaritas?
No, they kicked the parents out and said, go have fun. And I said, I want my wife to be happy. And what makes my wife happy is margaritas. So I'm going to throw margaritas at my wife. So we had some margaritas and had a lovely night, and then picked up our kid. It's
so impressive to me that people can drink and then function the next day. My body doesn't do well with alcohol. That's why the new THC seltzers, they're like a game changer for me.
Gotcha.
Because I'll have a couple of those and be right, and the next day can function properly.
So cannabinoids work really, really well for most of my family, my cousins, my uncles, especially on my dad's sides. On my mom's side, not so much. And I have the cannabinoid receptor genes of my mother. Absolutely. Because
does it make you like anxious or something?
Oh, it makes her anxious. And if it only made me anxious, you know what? I might do it. Like there's some things that I like a lot of coffee. I'll drink a lot of coffee. I'll get a little anxious. It's fine. No, this takes my consciousness, like the conversation we're having, and turns it into a strobe light. So I'll be talking and then I might lose my place. I don't know. And that's all internal. Even my vision will black out. So I don't do THC so much. But I also trained myself to be able to function the next day after, I don't know, several drinks. As a Bourbon Street bartender, I was tending bar in the French Quarter. You don't get out of that unscathed.
No, you definitely. I did it for 3 years. Yeah, it changed me into the monster that I am today. But I mean, now I'm a neighborhood bartender, so yeah, it's way different.
I did a couple of neighborhood bartending jobs. I liked the engagement of the tourists, just like quick turnaround. Maybe I'll see you again. Maybe I won't. The neighborhood bartending is great. It's lovely. It's fun. And I need a new audience.
Right.
I just need fresh faces in order for me to use the same material or practice the material that I have. So
yeah, see, I get that too. I met so many people from all across the world whenever I was bartending down there on Bourbon Street. So that was lovely. And yeah, you're right. Just getting to like meet new people from everywhere. It's it'll change your mentality, man, because you realize that everyone's just doing the same shit. Like we're all just trying to get through this. But at the same time, being in the French Quarter is also it's a mind fuck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you end up getting into some trouble where you might not get into trouble in a neighborhood area. So that's why it's been great for me. Like, it takes me away from that party scene. Cause I remember, there were so many times where we would get off work and I would meet these people that were in town for a weekend party. And they're like, yo, meet us at this bar after you get off work. So that's what we do. We go have drinks after we get off work. And that just leads into other things that, that could get debaucherous. Where here, when I get off work, I go home.
That's much easier for family life. You know what? Or even just general mental and physical health.
But it was a great time down there, man. Like I said, it was a game changer from a guy coming from small town Arkansas to move to a place where I can meet people from everywhere, all across the world.
A couple of questions. Where'd you work on Bourbon?
Do you know where Napoleon's Itch is?
I do.
Yeah, I worked at Napoleon's Itch for 3 years.
Wait a minute, at St. Anne? And Bourbon.
Yeah, St. Anne Bourbon, across from Oz.
Yeah. What years?
Oh, geez, dude. Man, I can't even.
Pre-COVID or post-COVID?
Pre-COVID. I think 6 years pre-COVID.
So 2014.
Something around there, yes.
Yeah. We lived. My wife and I lived there then.
Oh, well, we might have crossed paths then.
Probably crossed paths. Do you remember Big Tiny? The hot dog vendor?
The hot dog guy.
Yeah. I do have bad news. I'm sorry. He passed.
Dude, knowing Big Tiny, I think it was only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Great guy, but yeah, he had a rough life.
He looked after my wife, who was working at the Grapevine.
Oh, he looked after everybody, and man.
We lived on 800 block of St. Anne. So like her commute was short, but like there was more than once that Big Tiny saw somebody giving her some trouble and called him out.
So for those of you who don't know what Big Tiny is, Big Tiny was like this 6'8" white dude with a bald head, and it was probably like 300 pounds, just a huge man.
Big Tiny tattooed across his neck.
Yeah, and he worked at what was it, Lucky Dogs hot dog vendor in the French Quarter, and he basically was just like the big bodyguard for the whole block. So if you ever had any issues, here come Big Tiny.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was great, man. Great having him around. Sad to hear that he passed away, but
he was a good cat.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to like stumble across his path while he was on this planet.
Wait a minute. So we went afield again. It was, where'd you work on bourbon? And you had mentioned something else post party. I give up.
That's okay. I was saying that I worked on Napoleon's Itch, and I was across the street from Oz. Yeah, it was during those years because I remember Bella Blue was performing across the street.
Oh, yeah. Kat and Dante had kicked up the marketing for that. Gay, straight, beautiful people.
Yeah, I just remember every time she went on stage, I was just like fixated because you could see in the door for that whatever that venue was over there.
I had the opportunity to hire her for a gig that I couldn't attend. But
Dude,
I had
she's great.
Pop out of a cake at a particularly large venue. I think there were 3,000 people in the audience. She popped out of the cake, and it was for a Mardi Gras crew.
Very attractive woman.
She is a fantastic human being who has gotten her degree in American Sign Language.
Recently. I didn't know this.
If anybody needs American Sign Language translation, Bella Blue is an up and comer in the field, and I've lined her up with as many people as I can, both of them, to get her some more work.
American Sign Language translator.
Yeah.
So like if you're saying something, she could be on the podcast here, just doing her thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. Or like if there's a musician that's like if someone's rapping.
Oh, I've seen those.
You've seen those, yeah.
And they're like rappers, dude. They look dope as hell when they're rapping the. I think Busta Rhymes. I saw someone doing that one time, and she was just going at it.
That would be a challenge. He moves real fast.
Yeah. Now, I need to get her on the podcast. It'd be a great guest to have because we could talk about the days when I used to look in the windows at her performing, and then also her sign language.
I'll be happy to put you all in contact.
Yeah, there's only a handful of burlesque dancers that I actually know on a personal level. It's because I worked with them in like film type situations. But yeah, there's so many in the city that are just great that I don't really know yet.
It is a very supportive crew. For the people that are in it, like that, think of it like. You have muses, you have Rex, you have the crews, and then you have your sub crews, and then you have your crew de vous crews, the little tiny sub crews and the walk-in parades. That's the way the burlesque community is here. You know, like a burlesque den mother, and then she's got a series of people that either she's trained or has been trained by somebody like Trixie, and they just fell in, and it's a performance troupe, and it's an easy go-to. And some of the performers go between troupes very easily. Some of them don't.
That's what I love about this city, though. I love that it's a small city. So I find that
a lot of the art scenes are that way. So like the comedians, the comedians know each other. And when they come to open mics, like we have open mic here on Tuesday, they all come. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you know one or two of them, they're all going to be here. It's so cool. Musicians are the same way. Like you'll find these bands that they're all performing on the same stages. They all know each other. Dana Ives, shouts out to them. They're one of my favorite bands in the city, but they like every time we go to a new show, they're introducing me to other bands that I should know or that, and I guess burlesque is the same way.
It very much is.
Yeah. All just like small communities.
Yeah. So to bring it back the other direction, we were talking about small communities. You had asked how to monetize it. And yes, we threw a show. Busking is the best way to monetize anything in New Orleans. Busking in the French Quarter is gonna be not the most consistent, but the most engaging and valuable means on any given day for any new burgeoning group.
Right, because you're going to cross so many people there in the French Quarter.
They cross you.
And busking, for people who don't know, is performing on the side of the street.
Yep. And
then basically perform for tips.
Yep. And the better you are, the more of a crowd you can draw, the better off you are. You'll see it on St. Peter and Royal.
Oh, it's all over the French Quarter, man. Well, I love it too.
That St. Peter and Royal in front of that Rouse's specifically has really good bands that draw a consistent crowd, and it's a sought after location.
Yeah. Is there like permits and shit you got to fill out to do that, or
nope.
It's just like whoever shows up first?
Yes.
Interesting.
I think it's different for performers at the amphitheater, and if you are singing or
where's the amphitheater?
The amphitheater across from Jackson Square.
Oh, it is an amphitheater, isn't it? Yeah.
If you're singing or dancing or performing on Jackson Square, you don't need a permit. But if you're selling art, if you're selling physical art, you do. And
which is a lot of great artists down there too.
There are. Maris is one of my personal favorites out there.
Maris. So one day I came into the bar here and someone had stuck some pictures in the bar, and they were from an artist in the French Quarter. And I was like, where did these come from? And I guess they just popped in the bar one night and just stashed some art away. But yeah, it was kind of cool. I forgot who the artist was, but it's gone now. I guess they came out and got it. I reached out to him on Instagram. I was like, yo, dude, this is dope. You want to come on the podcast, chat about it? And the art was gone. It's like it was never here.
Well, it's one of those ephemeral things. It's
like the
beautiful.
Game. Yeah.
It lasted for that period of time. It was in your life and you got to say.
That's what you were talking about. Because when we first showed up, I was asking him about recording, the sessions that they do. And he was talking about, he loves the finality of it, that he can perform and live in that moment and then it's just gone. You want to go ahead and explain that?
Sure. I'm gonna actually draw a correlation to one of my most recent favorite performance memories. There at Tulane, there were some Tibetan monks that had been displaced, and they were staying in Karnataka, and they were doing mandalas. They were doing sand mandalas at the library at Tulane. And my wife works at Tulane, and she told me about it. I was like, that's really cool. I'll bring the kids to check out these sand mandalas. And they started talking about how it's impermanent and it's specifically designed to be beautiful for a very specific period of time. And then we fold it up and we put it away. We're done. That's it. Mm-hmm. Likewise with music, for me, at least, and for right now, not forever. But I like being able to go to a place and make something beautiful and then just disappear back into the ether. It's beautiful. It's intense. And in that moment that you get to have those experiences. And then it's ephemeral. That joy, that feeling, that completion of that moment is ephemeral, just like all things. But in that moment, it is beautiful and it is perfect. And it's, I hate to make a correlation to Chuck Palahniuk and Fight Club because you don't talk about Fight Club. But if anybody's ever read the book, Tyler Durden collected perfect moments. There was a thing where he spent, within the context of the book, he spent 6 hours dragging driftwood across a beach so that when the sun would hit a perfect spot, it would make the shadow of a hand, and he would sit in the hand that he made in the shadow and just live in that moment. It's not, hey, it's Instagram, I'm going to take a picture of this thing that I did. It's I did this thing. I did it for me. It's beautiful and it feels right. And that's why I love a cappella music. There's no no set up, break down. There we go.
It's definitely something that's missing in today's society. Is those people living for the moment. I mean, everyone's just living for what can social media, that validation, right? Rather than just like experiencing life.
Yeah. Having children changed that for me. It was I gotta put the phone down. Otherwise I like what's more important. Hey, this funny meme, which is funny, or the 3-year-old that is telling his first joke. And I got to tell you, those kids have come up with some humdingers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, I see that in a lot of guys whenever they have children. I say guys because I don't hang around chicks a lot. But yeah, a lot of my guy friends, whenever they finally had their kids, they switched this different mindset.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, but like, I don't know. It's not for me.
This is not a gleaming advertisement for parenthood, by the way. Just a heads up. If you don't have kids and you don't want kids, no. Just don't.
I think everyone who's listening to this podcast knows by now that they're not for me, okay?
But I always knew that I wanted a family. And I was excited when I found somebody that finally said, yes, me too.
Yeah, that's I mean, it's an experience, it's part of being human. It's very confusing to me that I don't want that experience, but I understand that like that's because what is one thing you can't control on this planet? The fact that you're going to die. Mm-hmm. So how do you create a legacy? You either create a art or something that lives on past you, or an idea that lives on past you, or you have a child that lives on past you. So I think there's like 2 different types of legacies you can have. Because the whole idea is to just like create something that lives beyond you. So it could be another human or it could be an idea.
You are correct. I agree with what you're saying. But the other thing is, just like the mandala, just like the song, everything is ephemeral. Whether or not my child lives beyond me, lives multiple generations, whether my genes propagate for the next 1,000, 2,000 million years, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to make that. And I'm not like, oh no, it's I'm a nihilist. I believe in nothing. Like, no, it's just, we are here and we get to have these experiences at this time right now. You and me, we get to hang out. I came in, I didn't even remember why I was invited to here. And yet
that's how I get them.
It was only 2 a.m. and I remember there was pickled goza. But what it came down to is like a new person invited me to do a new thing. And I'm going to try this on because I will not get this experience again.
That's a good point. Great point, actually.
You said also, it's not something you want, which I can dig very much so. You said you're from Arkansas? Which town?
Do you know where Jonesboro is?
Nope.
It's northeast Arkansas. I'm from a very small town outside of Jonesboro called Harrisburg.
Harrisburg. Okay.
Yeah, it's a town of about 2,000 people.
All right. The reason I ask is I've spent more time than I care to mention in Fayetteville.
Okay.
Like up in the Northwest. Yeah. Up in Northwest Arkansas. And Arkansas is gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Had a good time there. Hot Springs is the only thing that compares to Hot Springs in the United States. Pardon me, in the eastern United States is Berkeley Springs in West Virginia. Like it's just, those are both really neat places for and representations of 1800s, late 1800s, early 1800s architecture and application of hot springs, which is a collection. It's just something I collect. It's one of those weird things. But the reason I ask is, have you hiked any of the OHT, the Ozarks Highlands Trail?
Yes. So I lived in Little Rock for a while, and we would go up to the mountains and we would hike over there. It's like an hour drive away.
Yeah.
A couple of films that I worked on too, they were like up in the mountains because they were shooting in like some of the caves over there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, there are waterfalls and everything over there, just fucking beautiful, man. It
is a beautiful, beautiful place. It's hard to hike because it's up 2,000, down 2,000, up 2,000, down 2,000. So I'm a long distance hiker. I don't look it today, but I've got thousands of miles behind me and on my pack. And it is an intimate love to me. It's something that's very deep and that I really care about and really enjoy about living in a mountainous area. Mm-hmm. And my wife hates it with a passion. It makes her very uncomfortable.
Just being out in nature and like the unknown?
Not knowing. It's the not knowing. Like, hey, where are we going to camp? I don't know, but I've got a tent in my backpack and there's a shelter down there and we can, dig a hole if we got to go potty. Like, we good.
Right.
We got plenty of water. We're fine. And it's there's no road maps. So it gets her on the, oh dear God, I don't know what's going to happen. And yet the same person, the same beautiful woman who despises hiking was really enthusiastic about having little tiny suicidal monkeys running around the house of her own making. She wanted to carry the suicidal monkey, have them, she asked me not to describe it that way. Have them pronounce themselves to the world and then raise them in a fashion that keeps them from dying. Not everything's for everybody, man.
But can't you just break that down and say that could just be like survival instinct? Like, once again, survival of her genes would be creating those little demon monkeys. And then also like survival could just be, staying away from the unknown, which is the being outside in the wilderness. You don't know if there's a bear around the next corner, or you don't know where you're going to sleep at night. I love that. I'm a huge fan of like adventure and stuff, but that's also because, once again, I'm the male of the species. Like, I need to go out and find things. I need to go out and procreate. I need the adventure. I need to hunt. And I like to break things down to like just the animal side of it, because we are just animals.
I dig it. The need to hunt.
What I mean by that, it's like hunt a woman. That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
I understand.
I didn't know if the guest did. Yeah.
And you hunt a woman. I'm going to hunt down good Chinese food in this town. And it's harder than it sounds.
What, Chinese kitchen, dude? Isn't that what it's called?
Chinese kitchen over on Carrollton?
Oh my God.
It's okay. I'm from the East Coast. What I miss is greasy lo mein with the pork that has the red tint on the end. Yummy, yummy. Had it. It was just where it was at.
Had it.
Well, I haven't been to Yummy for a while. They may have changed.
That's in the French Quarter, right?
No. That's also on Carrollton. It's just further down. It's over by Taqueria Guerrero.
Dude, I love some Chinese food, man. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Yummy, yummy.
Yeah, I've never been there, but Chinese kitchen's my go-to for Chinese. I'll check out Yummy though.
I'll swap out with Chinese kitchen. I'll give it a shot. Chinese kitchen is close to the house.
Dude, you're making me hungry right now.
Oh, I had ramen for breakfast.
Like, I don't normally eat until after my my second podcast.
I'll order a pizza.
I'm gonna have to get some food before that. After this. No, after my second podcast, I normally have to run down and get a bagel.
Oh, Humble Bagel.
Yeah, they're
pretty good.
I like them because they're open on the weekends. I don't know if they're open during the week. I'm never down here early in the week.
No, they're not. They're not open early in the week. I used to live down on Milan.
So what else were we talking about? We were talking about something else there.
Monetize. How to monetize. I still haven't finished that one.
Well, I mean, I think we covered that enough.
Okay.
Yeah. There was something else I was going to ask you though. I think it was about your kids or something. I don't know.
Bedtime with Stash and Gator.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you like, so you're saying you're not from here?
No, I'm not. I'm from Baltimore.
Yeah. And you were telling me that you had this really cool, way to kind of like, I guess showcase your kids to, or actually not showcase, but like make your parents aware of your children and how they're being raised and stuff, right? That's a bad way to explain it, but
it's not terrible. No,
okay.
You're making an excellent effort, and I appreciate it. Speaking of Ember's a parent.
Yeah, yeah. She didn't talk about it much, but yeah, she is.
She is. Okay. My kid was born, and then the world shut down. Like everything just gone, fart in the wind. Everything changes all of a sudden, and Grandma and Grandpa, who
still live in Boston.
Who still live in Baltimore.
Baltimore, my bad.
Grandma and Grandpa were active participants in our life and in the life of the kid, the life of my first child. There we go. So I come from a singing family. Like the Hummingbirds is just a spin-off of all the other crap that I've done a cappella, but that's another thing that we can go into later. Here, I'll even write it down. I wanted a way that I could sing and practice my voice and practice new songs and involve my kid and make sure that I carved out time, because at the time I was also enrolled full-time in school at UNO. Mm-hmm. So I made this thing called Bedtime with Stash and Gator. I had exclusively a mustache. It was part of the image of the Hummingbirds. And Freddie Gator, we've been calling him an alligator, because we didn't know if it was a boy or a girl when he was conceived. We didn't find out. We wanted a surprise. We'll find out if it's a boy or if it's a girl after the kid comes out. So when people would ask, "Hey, what are you having?" I'd be like, "That's an alligator." So we call him Freddie Gator. Well, Gator, and then Freddie Gator because he turned into a he. Anywho, Bedtime with Stash and Gator. So I'd sing to him, ostensibly to get him to sleep. It was, I'm the youngest. I'm the baby of the family. I had no cousins that were younger than me that I was allowed to look after. So I didn't know. The first diaper I changed was my son's at the age of 39. So I didn't know that bedtime for these little suicidal monkeys involves not just like, oh, I'm sleepy, I'm going to curl up and it's going to be sweet. And it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be like a Treyu and the luck dragon just kind of gracefully falling. No, not even a little. No, this is a suicidal monkey that's climbing on you while you're trying to sing, pulling on your eyelids. I used to have piercings in my chest. I took them out within 2 weeks, of having a baby, because you know what the kid does? He says, oh, there's something there, reaches out for it. He is 2 weeks old. Everything's a blur aside from that one shiny thing on the one rosy thing. And he's just like, oh, that's food, right? No. Anyway, so Bedtime with Stash and Gator kind of took off like a shot. Like I have fun with it. I really enjoyed it. Then we had our second child, Who Knew Banana, who was nicknamed.
So hang on. Go. First of all, you sing to them and then you film this and then you post it. I filmed this on
Facebook.
You put it on Facebook? Okay.
Just on Facebook. It's on my Facebook page. It's completely demonetized.
Yeah. Sometimes, so it's just you singing to your kids when they go sing. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. And it was like, it started off in a dark room, and as the first one got older, the lights were on. Nothing. Kyle, nothing is like Atreyu falling asleep in the arms of a luck dragon when you're a parent. Nothing. I grew the beard out from the mustache because, oh, the child is falling. He's reaching out. He has something to grab now.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, so you're definitely doing well of painting the picture of people not wanting to have kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, it's an adventure.
Yeah, I don't even want to take care of a dog. That's because like it's like it would be cool to have a dog, like just a little puppy, but then it's like, no, you got to take them out. They got to shit every day, like 2 times a day. You got to feed them. It's like, just let me live my life.
You like your freedom, man.
I do. Yeah, I don't even like having a girl. Yeah, it's like I just like to get up and go whenever I want to. I don't want to check in with anybody.
Kyle, you're prettier than I am. You don't have a girl. You have a collection, I'm sure.
Oh no, I don't.
Fan club, perhaps.
No, so dude, I went celibate 6 years ago.
You know what? I sold a bit too, but it was stock.
Yeah.
Please continue.
No, it's yeah. I just I stopped
dating,
stopped trying. Yeah, because I was like, this is just not even it's not doing anything beneficial to my life.
Huh?
Once again, break it down to that animalistic instinct.
Huh?
Like that was part of. So like you were mentioning this Tibetan monks. Like I started looking into Hinduism and yoga about probably 7 or 8 years ago, and that's kind of like what shifted my entire mindset. Was kind of turning away from life's pleasures. And I think it changed my life big time. Like, cause I stopped going for like those little hits of dopamine, and it really makes you appreciate life. I think it's where the monks come in. Like, I think it's the craziest part about them doing the mandala thing is the fact they mix all the fucking sand together at the end. That drives me nuts. Like, what are you going to do with that sand after this, dude?
Well, think about this another way. What's going to happen to those recordings in 50, 100, 1,000 years? All the pictures that I take, all the stuff that's on Instagram. You think that's going to last forever?
Oh, I know it's not going to last forever. Yeah.
So,
but it's a way for like, this is a way for me to be a part of my niece and my nephew's life.
I'm not only behind that, I'm behind it pushing.
Yeah.
I'll help you up here, the uphill Sisyphus.
Because they live in Arkansas, and that's all the influence they have is what's around them right there. But I'm not there. Even though it broke my heart the last time I was there. My niece, who's 11 years old now, she looked at me and said, "You're never around." And I was like, God damn it. I was like, yeah, I get it. But I mean, this is a way for me to kind of like leave something behind for them if they want to ever look at it.
That's a warm fuzzy, man. That is a real cool warm fuzzy. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, you got anything else you want to touch on? Because I mean, I think that's I
mean, it's noon. It's been about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. No, because I don't just want to talk about me. I want to talk about you. I want to talk about life, and this is your show, homie. I don't know when to stop.
Well, no, what else do you want to ask me? I'm an open book.
Okay.
Put him on the spot.
Your entry into Hinduism and your entries into Buddhism.
Yeah. Do you have a you obviously know about the monks and the mandalas. Do you have an interest in that kind of stuff, or is there a reason that you know about these things?
I mean, I brought the hummingbirds to sing to the monks doing the mandalas. Mm-hmm. They would chant, we'd sing a song, and it was an exchange. It was a cultural exchange. But I know about this because I collect cultures, I guess you could say. Like, I worked at an Indian restaurant, so I learned about, not Indian, Nepalese restaurant. So I learned about Nepal, and then I learned about the Gurkhas, and I learned about what's happening in Nepal and its proximity to Tibet and its interactions with China and India. I have a history with Southeast Asia. I have a history with Arabic North Africa. I have researched this stuff. When I was, about 12, I took an interest into sub-Saharan Africa and did a 10-page report on Mali because I thought it was cool.
So you like learning about other cultures?
I love learning about it.
I hate it. Yeah, just something about Hinduism just kind of like clicked with me. So that's when I started digging into it. And it's not even just Hinduism. It's how other cultures relate back to Hinduism. Like there's something that's like very rooted and base about Hinduism to me.
About the destruction, the rebuilding, the Kali, the Shiva.
It just feels like it's the first. Yeah. And I mean, I can't even explain it to anyone to like a degree where they would even understand what I'm talking about. Something about like all the research and stuff that I've done into it just feels like it's like, it's the truth.
I can get behind believing something is the truth. Because without that, we wouldn't have religion.
See, I'm not even religious. Like, even when it comes to calling Hinduism a religion, I would say it's more like a lifestyle, like the yogic lifestyle.
The yogi is a lifestyle, but it's still based on Kali Yuga. It's still based on the Ayurvedic propensities, and it's neat. Did you come to it from yoga, or did you come to it from what angle?
There was I was just interested in life, right? So I'm doing my own little research, and one day I stumbled across how the chakras line up with the endocrine glands of the body, and then I was having a conversation with a guy who's he teaches yoga in the city, and I was basically telling him, endocrine glands line up with the chakras, and he's like, "Dude, I have a book you need to read." So he brings me this book, and it's like fucking, and I'm the slowest reader ever. Like, I hate reading with a passion, but it's this book that's like a freaking college textbook, huge, thick book, and it's called The Science of Yoga. And I remember I opened that book and I could not put it down. And I found myself every single day, because at this point in time I lived in mid-city, and I would walk from my house to the bayou, and I would sit there and read that book, and I would meditate for like 15, 20, 30 minutes, however long I felt like I needed to be there for that day. And this was in the direct sunlight too. Yeah. And then the more I dove into my studies, the more I read this book, the more I started pushing these techniques, and they led to some pretty wild experiences, which forever changed how I view the world. And I recommend that book to everyone too. Yeah, Science of Yoga, and I forget who the guy, it starts with an I, the guy who wrote it, Ikigami something. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know his name either. Like, the names don't really, anytime I'm reading a book, the author's names, I kind of just like push to the side. I want to know the content in the book.
Dig it.
Yeah, it's a great book. Recommend it to everyone. I've read it twice now, front to back. And I'll probably read it again before I die.
That's a cool thing.
Yeah.
And it's about the among other things, how the chakras line up with your endocrine system.
No, not at all.
That's what you just said.
Yeah, no, that's how I got involved in the study of it. Yeah, that was what initially brought the conversation on for the guy to give me the book. The actual book, The Science of Yoga, is about the techniques that the yogis use to simplify everything in life. And for me, I like to take what they were doing and then try to explain it scientifically with the knowledge we have today. So one of the things I've extrapolated from my own experiences in the yogi lifestyle is that, everything around us is energy. And there's a duality to energy. So you have the ups and the downs of life. So when you turn away from these tiny pleasures, which are the ups in life, then you're actually giving way so like basically when you're turning away from the tiny pleasures and you're diving into things that are like just little nuances. Like, for instance, I'll park the farthest away from my apartment that I can every single time I pull into my house, because that little bit of extra negativity will kind of push on the universe around me, and it'll say, okay, well, now we have to give him some positive as like a feedback. And that's just, in my opinion, that's the way life works. It's like, if you put more negative on yourself, the universe has to respond with positivity. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes sense. I got no interest in refuting your concept. I'm trying to apply it to politics, and I'm not having a hell of a lot of luck.
Yeah, I think that if we're going to talk about politics,
no. If you want.
No, I have an idea that I think would change politics forever. And I've been saying this on the podcast for a long time, but a very simple way, in my opinion, to fix politics is to look at Congress, because Congress is where the problem is. The House and Senate. Anytime they go to vote on something, it's pushed to your phone, and you get a chance to vote on it first, which your vote doesn't go to anything, but it sets a precedent for the way the politicians are supposed to vote. Mm-hmm. So if your politicians vote opposite what their constituents want, then you're notified. And it's
That'd be nice.
Your politicians voting opposite what you wanted. And then it also has like a report card for each politician. So when it comes election time, you basically look at the report card and say, well, this guy's been doing bad. We're going to vote for someone else.
I like this idea. You can already compile that from the data that they publish.
Absolutely. But no one's done it.
Oh, there's your $1 million idea.
Yeah, take it and run with it. Make $1 million.
No, that's your $1 million idea. I got to go sing.
No, that's my problem too, is I don't give a shit about politics enough to actually pursue that. Like, I think it's a solution for the problem, but I don't it's going to take a lot of work to actually make that happen. If someone out there wants to do it, they're more than welcome. I don't give a shit about politics. And then once again, it has to do with the yogi lifestyle. Like, life is going to happen regardless. We can do things to change it, but at the same time, or we can just let it happen. So the real question you have to ask is, where did the ideas come from?
Ideas of which part?
So like, where did that concept for that idea even come from in my mind? And I think that also comes from quieting the mind. The way the yogis meditate. You're meditating because what you're trying to do is you're trying to clear everything out of your mind. You're trying to still the mind. Mm-hmm. And whenever you quiet the mind, what you do is you give way for energy or the sunlight to give you ideas. Mm-hmm. Sounds kind of crazy, but if you look at the law of thermodynamics, energy can't be destroyed, but it can be transferred. Mm-hmm. So if you can take your mind and quiet it, like there's no thought in your mind at all, go out, sit in the sunlight, and let the photons hit you and see if something strikes you. Could be crazy, could be real. Who knows?
I like the fact that you've found your way of finding new ideas and that it's been effective for you. And that makes me really happy. It is not the way that I find new ideas. It's not what I do. Usually my new creative concepts come in the shower after about 3 hours of sleep. Not a party night or anything, just being awake. Puttering about, crashing, waking up early, hopping in the shower, and having that quiet time. Not sunlight, that quiet time. And a rhythmic sensation, a consistent rhythmic sensation. And with that rhythm, I get to reflect on whatever's happening. And I also have terrible ADD. So if I'm not being stimulated, the mind doesn't quiet itself for me. I need some sort of stimulation. I need a fidget. I need what have you. And things go into the hippocampus more readily that way for me. But I guess it all does come down to quieting the mind and figuring out what direction you want to go or what the solution you want to be or what you want to see in the world and choosing whether or not you're going to pursue it.
Yeah, for me, every time I see a problem, that's where I'm like, this needs to be fixed. And then brain won't shut up until I have a solution. Yeah, so it's kind of with the politics thing. Whenever I first because once again, I cannot state enough how much I hate politics. And if anyone ever was like, you should run for a political position, I would literally blow my brains out sitting in a suit in a room where people are just telling me stupid political bills or whatever they're doing. Like that just, I can't fathom that people want to do this. You couldn't pay me enough money to offset that. But whenever COVID happened and they shut down the world, I was like, my whole take with politics is they can never do anything to really influence my life that much. And then whenever they did, I was like, okay, now it's time for me to do something about it. So for that entire year or whatever we were shut down, that's all I did was research mathematical concepts and how government works and stuff like this until I come up with a little solution like that. I think it'd work because it's based off of mathematical concepts like the law of large numbers. It's based off the way humans think. It's based off of the way the blockchain works. Is it would actually be setting on the blockchain? That way, no one could touch it. So it's secure. I think it's a great concept. But I mean, I'm that way with anything. Like if you come to me and say, "Hey, the ice machine's broke," like it's gonna be in my fucking brain until the ice machine gets fixed. Just weighs on my consciousness. And that I don't know if that could be like an animal thing too, where if you break it down into like the base needs, if we were ever in a survival situation and you come to me and like we need to eat, like that would just be on my mind until we had food. Yeah,
that's how we got good at foraging.
Yeah,
that's where the entomophagy comes in.
What is that?
Entomophagy, eating bugs.
Ooh, that'd be a tough one.
Oh my gosh, the protein for the Paleolithic Indians and the Paleolithic cultures, not just America, but like in Europe, huge swaths of their protein intake were from insects.
Oh yeah, I mean, even in like the Amazon and stuff. I mean, I have friends that they're like, yeah, we eat bugs down here, and it's like, are you? Like, I get it. If it's a survival situation, sure. I mean, have you seen the people eat mosquito burgers?
Oh my God, I would love like. How many mosquitoes fit into a burger?
Dude, that's
a lot of mosquitoes.
Yeah, they have so many mosquitoes in a certain area. I'm not sure where it's at, but they'll take a pot of water and just like knock the mosquitoes into the pot of water. When they get enough, they'll take them and make them into patties, and then grill them up. Mosquito burgers, it's a thing.
They obviously don't have enough bats.
I guess.
I mean, I'd eat the mosquito burger. Don't get me wrong, but I mean that sounds like bat heaven.
I don't know. So the guy who was the chef at the Insectarium used to come to this bar. He was a frequent over here, and he brought me chocolate covered crickets, which I've eaten those. They taste just like Reese's peanut butter to me. It's crazy. And he brought us mealworm cookies, I think it was. I ate those too, but then one time he brought me a chocolate covered tarantula, and I was like,
too much, too far.
Nah.
To be honest, I wish you had tried it because I want to find out they taste like Blue Point crabs.
Oh, man, spiders. No.
You eat crabs though?
I don't.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, no, Shrimp? I don't do seafood.
Any of them?
No.
Crawfish?
I'll eat a crawfish maybe once every 2 or 3 years. Yeah, I don't even do the crawfish thing. And it's not because I dislike them. Crawfish taste phenomenal. But whenever I'm eating, I don't want to, take 10 minutes to get into one crawfish. Like I just want to shove as much food in my mouth as I can and go.
But then we go back to the survival situation.
Yeah, just shove it in my mouth and go, dude. Like when it comes to the social aspect of crawfish, I get it, but I'd rather just eat a big steak and walk away. Oh,
I'm definitely corn, potatoes, and whatever else you can sling in there. Yeah. Although I will recommend against artichokes. Don't put an artichoke in with your crawfish because the artichokes have the little spines, and then now you have hot lips, and then you have little spines in your mouth, and everything sucks for about 2 days.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had an artichoke in them.
Smart
but yeah,
move.
The potatoes and corn are phenomenal, and crawfish and sausage too. Yeah, I mean that the marinade or whatever it is, the seasoning, fucking phenomenal, dude. The crawfish seasoning,
it's good. Crawfish boil. The flavor itself is called a boil. Just like as I'm from Baltimore, we steam our crabs. We use rock salt and Old Bay, and that is the crab boil. We just mix it 50-50 and put it over the crabs. It's just the way it's called. I don't know why.
No, I mean I get it. Oh. Have you ever put any crawfish boil on crabs?
Yeah, they do that here all the time.
Oh, that's a thing too?
That's a thing, yeah.
So I've never even tried the crabs. Like being from Arkansas, we eat, catfish, stuff like that. That's like our extent into like fish. Catfish,
rainbow
bass.
Trout. You got rainbow trout.
Not even trout, dude.
Huh.
Yeah. Catfish and bass.
You ever had bass? Yeah.
Bass, catfish, crappie. That's where I'm from. That's what we eat. But yeah, mostly it's meat, dude.
Best trail meal I had was a largemouth bass stuffed with spring onions, and one of my co-hikers had hiked with rosemary for about 1,200 miles. He caught a bass and cooked it over an open grill and stuffed it with spring onions and rosemary. It was unreal.
Especially after a long hike.
Oh my God.
Like that's a great meal.
was a great meal. We found out also that I don't know about Arkansas, but where we were outside of Virginia was crawfish, the largemouth bass eating crawfish or crayfish up there. It was the best bait. We got a hit within seconds. How about up there in Arkansas? What'd you use for bait?
Just depends. Like, you can use worms, minnows. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge fan of the stink bait. My dad, not so much. He doesn't like the stink bait, but I mean, catfish, dude. If you're catching catfish, they love that shit. If
you want to catch catfish down here, you can get a lizard, one of the geckos. Put it on the hook, and it will continue to move you use it for about 10, 15 minutes.
That's so cruel, isn't it?
I mean, it's going to get eaten one way or the other.
I do it, but I mean, I just think it's cruel anytime you're like, and this is what kind of psychopath my mother is. When she's like, sticking the minnows, she's like, I'm sorry. It's going to be over quick. And I'm like, what is wrong with you, woman?
Well, at least she's warning them.
Like, yeah, but think about it, like if you were a killer came and kidnapped you and then took you to his house and he was just like, with his knife, it's going to be over really quick. Okay. Like, what kind of fucking psychopath is that?
I think it's the eye contact at the end that really sells it. So it's the difference between this is going to be over really quick and this is going to be over really quick. Yeah. Like if you're staring at him in the eye, that's a psychopath. If you're staring at your target, less terrifying.
I got to watch her next time she's doing it. She's looking at the fish in his eye. It's going to be over real quick.
Does she watch this? Does she catch this?
I don't know, man. Yeah, if she does, then yeah, she'll know.
Hi, Kyle's mom.
Anyway, Pete, where's your show at again, you said?
We've got September 14th, we've got a show in the back of Always Lounge.
I love that place.
14th, I believe it's 10:30 for the doors. It's going to be a late show, but it is a fundraiser for Kit Kendall. And Kit Kendall is going to need some surgery and needs a little pick-me-up. So we're raising funds for Kit. And with a little bit of luck, they'll be able to live a happier, more fulfilled life after this show. But yes, we will be doing Strip Barbershop on September 14th after 11 at the Always Lounge.
Nice. Catch a show, get some tickets, and come out and support Kit Kendall. Pete, thank you for coming on today. I look forward to seeing where the Hummingbirds go.
You and me both, man.